Hey, it's Open Space and Equity. We're all about increasing assets and creating new space. I'm here to kind of beat a dead horse, but it's still an apropos topic. But this is the conversation about the bus driver, Eboni K. Williams. Of course, watched the initial interview she did with Dr. Van Zant, then her rebuttal or clapback, and then Breakfast Club. And I want to preface this with I agree almost wholeheartedly with what Ebony had to say. But I was watching DJ Envy's body language and response throughout the whole, and he kept the same energy. He was not in agreement. And his response was more, and he articulated that it was more about her clapback response, not necessarily her position, but her clapback response and the connotation associated with being mediocre. The challenge, this is where I agree with Attorney Williams. We are too sensitive in the Black community to talk about truths. The truth of the matter is there's an opportunity for us to perform better in some areas. The truth of the matter is nobody's coming to save us. This wealth disparity is an issue, and as AI comes on, it can become a greater issue. When she talks about the bigotry of low expectations, there is truth to that. And we need to be able to have true conversations without being on our feelings and without seeking to offend one another. Where I agree with DJ Envy is I see them as two dichotomies, if you will. If you are a scholar, you know that there was a Booker T. Washington, W.E. Du Bois debate at the early change of the 20th century. This is when Reconstruction was over. Jim Crow was live in effect in the South. With sharecropping, you had a reintroduction of slavery. You're taking back the voting rights that Black men received after the Civil War, essentially de facto non-voting rights, as you know. And Booker T. Washington came from a standpoint of, as a result of what's taking place, we need to take a more practical approach, take on vocational jobs, those regular jobs, those mediocre jobs, in order to help feed our families. W. Du Bois, in his book, The Souls of Black Folks, he broke down his rebuttal to that approach, which he believed in the more, hey, it's our best and our brightest, the talented Ted that should take our people forward into the next century to propel us. And my argument is this: we need both. We always operate under this form of scarcity that is not always reality in our community. Meaning there's one way to do it. If you've got I love what Earn Your Leisure is doing. We need 10,000 Earn Your Leisures, if you will. Nobody has to be either. They've created an excellent niche. They've made contacts. They have fortified networking in the educational Black wealth, kind of like the renaissance of Black wealth that's taking place. They have formed a path. They were ready when the pandemic hit, and they have established a platform that is stellar. I follow them, I watch them. But if we say, like we always do in our communities, that, well, Earn Your Leisure is doing that, so nobody else can play in that space, that's foolhardy. They're not going to be able to touch everybody, even though they've established a great network. We need 10,000 Earn Your Leisures. We need what W.E. Du Bois said, we need our best and our brightest to set the intellectual pathway for, provisions for what we're going to do next, thinking 10 steps ahead, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, 100 years ahead. We need that. But we also need people boots on the ground getting things done. And DJ Envy's energy was like, you intellectuals always talk a good game and you talk over people's head while I'm in these streets getting it done right now. He's arguing that, hey, look, I've got what you see here on the Breakfast Club, but I've got the real estate platform that I have, and I'm meeting these regular people day in and day out, and they're building empires. So don't begrudge these people. Don't put them down, because looks aren't always what they seem. That intellectual that has all these great ideas might have no fruit behind it. Whereas this person that you think has nothing may have an empire. You just don't know until you peel back the layers. So I get the argument, but we don't have to talk at each other, past each other. We need both. We need, because in the space I'm in, I can't stand when people don't want to get stuff done. At the end of the day, you can talk, but are you going to execute? So we make it a point to make sure that we talk the talk, but we walk the walk. Whether it be, we got the Scooters Coffee. We said we're going to do it, and we are doing it. You can see we got our receipts are out there. The consulting, we said we're going to do it, and we're doing it. Field of the boardroom, the networking, the Black networking. We said we're going to do it, and we're going to do it. But you also need somebody to set the vision, and you need somebody to execute the vision. The challenge is, whenever you're in a position, when it appears as if you are talking down to people, you lose. You can tell the truth without talking down to people. And it was hard, even though I agree almost lockstep with everything Eboni Williams had to say. Even in her clapback, I agree with it. But how you deliver the message is very important. You can say to somebody, you can do better without necessarily putting them down. And you got to play to your audience. We are all salespeople. Whether you're a banker, you're a doctor, you're an attorney, you need people to be in your network to work with you. And you ain't gonna pull nobody in when you offend them. And so that's the challenge I see. However, the rebut to that is, don't be so easily offended. That is the one thing I would say about a Black community is you can have two white guys that can't stand each other, and they'll figure out how to do business together, how to work together. For years, you may know as you see them interact, if we can't stand each other, shit's over. We ain't working together. That might be missed opportunities. And we've got to figure that out. So I say to you, who are we? Space and equity, we're about increasing assets and creating new space. We believe that when you come correct, they can't stop you. We believe nobody else is going to care about your own house the way you care about your own house. Nobody's coming to save us. We need to go ahead and make that thing happen. I think I saw somebody on the Breakfast Club talk about, even though Black wealth is going to go to zero by 2053, according to some studies, even though Black wealth is going down to zero, we still have $2 trillion circulating in the community, actually matriculating out of the community on an annual basis, $2 trillion. That $2 trillion could go towards a lot more productivity as we network together. So we're going to do our part. We ain't just going to complain about it. We're going to do it. Field of the boardroom, October 6th through the 8th, Charlotte, North Carolina, the Black Tech Series. We're meeting together with Black leaders in the industry, connecting students, connecting corporate, connecting government, because at the end of the day, we got to set opportunities, employment opportunities for our own community. That is the goal. That's the agenda. As NASA has its diversity, equity, inclusion agendas. Microsoft has its diversity, equity, inclusion agendas. That's great. We'll play off of that. But we have private people in the space. Urban Yard is a Black-owned company that needs networks, that is getting things done, and they can provide opportunities to the next generation. Kids coming from UNC Charlotte, kids coming from Johnson C. Smith right there in Charlotte. In the Triad area, in the Triangle area of North Carolina, there's a plethora of HBCUs. There's a plethora of PWCs that house all sorts of students, including Black students, that need networks. Students, there's a student cost, but the students are not going to incur the cost. Students will be sponsored, paid for free at a clip of a value of $250. Any student that wants to come, wants to start their network. And I guarantee you, the networks that you create are worth their money beyond gold. That is how you get things done. People do business with who they like. All the opportunities that I find that we're engaged in now, the $1 million plus opportunities that we're engaged in now, is via networking. So we're trying to put these kids on at a younger age. It helps the transition. So I'm a guy in my 40s. Well, now we want to give back. Then you have the sages in their 50s and their 60s and their 70s. They want to drop wisdom and give back. Everybody is built up when we get together. So that's why we're doing Field of the Boardroom. It's a 501c3. So if you want to donate to make sure students have no blockades into entering this event, You can donate. You write the check to Field to the Boardroom. We are registered, not-for-profit. Again, when you come correct, they can't stop you. We're spitting the knowledge. We're sharing. Look, we're going to get it done. We just want you to join us in that. If you don't want to join, that's fine. But we're going to get it done. When you see us later, it just happened overnight. This was things that were put together years upon years. Again, Obichukuma, space and equity, increasing assets and creating new space.